take a few bites.
That's fine. You're good. Like, I mean, it's not like we're professional or anything.
Right. I can mute myself so the audience doesn't have to hear me.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Deal with it, people.
Can that be the slogan of the show? Who cares about the audience? Deal with it, people. Well, I mean, that apparently is WWE slogan. So
yeah, we'll get into that. We're back, Chris and Matt's Wrestling Pod after a week off.
We're on the air.
Go ahead, dude. It's fine.
Fine.
We are pressed for time. We wanted to make sure we got this episode in, and because we missed last week, because last week my week was awful, and I watched zero wrestling last week. So I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna do a show this week because I haven't seen a thing. And so yeah, we didn't do a show last week, and we can't go 2 weeks without a show, so we're gonna get it in where we can. Hey,
I mean, we could, but don't be nasty.
Right. Who am I kidding? So yeah, we're gonna talk wrestling. A lot happened this week. We had a pay-per-view last Saturday, and we've got some very entertaining stuff on Dynamite between two top guys, and then not those top guys, but two other generic, the top guys in the generic sense, not in the it's like the superstar. They're not branded top guys, but they are top guys. Anyways, and then tonight we have another trial. So
that's right,
tribal court tonight.
Woo-hoo.
So yeah, we'll blow through all this and do it in a timely manner so Matt can get on up out of here. So let's just start
like
with
baggies at the White House. We're blowing right through it.
Yeah.
Right?
But let's start with probably the biggest story of the week. I mean, and it relates to that trial. It's going to have the trial of Roman Reigns tonight, but last Saturday was Money in the Bank from the UK, and Roman Reigns was pinned for the first time in ages.
Yeah, like 900 days or something?
Oh no, it's well over that. It's
it's longer than the title.
I think it's like 1900 days. Yeah, because it was like December of 2019, I think they said. So, I mean, he missed like 6 months, when he was out, when he took his I'm not dealing with this COVID shit break.
Yeah.
So it's a little inflated, but still impressive nonetheless. I was shocked because I thought if they lost, I didn't think he was going to take the pin. But then I was hearing some people talk about it, and Solo took the pin in Saudi. And if you're gonna try and keep him at a certain level, you don't want him taking 2 pins in a row like that. Initially, like my very first reaction watching it when it happened, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, because again, I mean, I've felt for a very long time that he shouldn't lose until he loses the title. But after giving it some thought, I'm like, no, this works. So I softened to it after reflecting upon it for a while. So, but again, I will stand by my statement that this all could have been done if Roman loses the title at WrestleMania. It loses nothing.
Yeah.
If Roman loses the title at WrestleMania.
Right. Well, and I not to jump too far ahead, but it sounds like the rumor is Cody's gonna challenge Roman again at 40, or is at least the plan. And I would assume the idea is, without the bloodline, can Roman actually beat Cody? And if Cody were to beat Roman in that sense, it wouldn't diminish it, but it wouldn't also maximize the returns.
I feel like that if they go that route, they're going to have a hard time, I think. Just recapturing, and maybe I could be wrong. I mean, they're not just singing the woes now; they're singing his whole goddamn theme song now. So, like, it's hard to say that he's lost a whole lot since then, but he doesn't, at least to me, and like, he just doesn't feel like he's at the same level he was at between the Rumble and WrestleMania. And so trying to keep him there, while also figuring out a legitimate reason to keep him away from Seth, other than he just doesn't want that title. But again, that's not necessarily the message I would want getting out there.
All that does is diminish it.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about Seth's title. It's not the title. Like,
right.
Well, then what the hell is the point? Like, why are we? Yeah.
Right. So I have a lot of and you can't have him win the Rumble again.
All right.
So
well, I mean, you could.
I think that's when you're going to start getting the backlash that everyone was worried about this year.
No, that pay-per-view was a couple months ago.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, look, I'm not a fan of the guy, but Eric Bischoff has a saying about momentum in wrestling. Once that momentum's going, it's really hard to get it picked up again.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a freight train heading into Mania. Just because they're cheering his stuff, or singing his song louder, it doesn't mean that he's as hot. It just means people have caught on to that part of the sing along of the show. Everyone sings
True.
Judas when it still comes out, and Jericho is about as flat as he's been right now since he's been in AEW.
Fair.
So, but and I assume we're going to get into this later. I think they're doing the exact same thing with someone else on that roster who's got a ton of momentum, got a ton of people behind him right now, and they're still playing we got to get him there. We got to get him to the next level, and I think that's going to be a mistake, and we'll get to that. But going back to your stuff about the Bloodline Civil War, I obviously didn't watch it. I was busy that day working, but when I got home and read the results, Jey getting the pin, because it had always been kind of rumored that Jey and Roman were going to face off at SummerSlam for the title. I think it made a lot of sense for Jey to win. It also gives Roman this level of vulnerability that he hasn't had in a very long time. He can be beaten. And if you don't have that in the back of your mind heading into the match at SummerSlam, it's really hard to kind of sell people on, well, Jey can beat him. Why would you assume a guy who's primarily a tag team wrestler would beat the most dominant champion of the last?
You mean especially because he's already failed to do it twice?
Right. So, like, they had to do something to give, like, well, he could do it. He's done it before. And it gives Roman motivation of, like, I'm going to prove that I'm still the top dog and that I'm still the leader, and you're going to acknowledge me at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have had Jimmy do it this time. Because again, like, and this is coming from someone, again, who's like I'm just daring them. Just give me any reason whatsoever to try and track down tickets to this show. Like, everything, like, even though, like, right now I'm perfectly content not going, I know day of, like, I'm just gonna be like, man, SummerSlam is literally like an hour and 15 minutes away, and I'm not, like, that's a bummer. But, like, if they're not giving me any reason to plop that kind of money down, like, Jey versus Roman Part 3 is not it for me. Like, as good as the story is, like, and it's like, God's so help me God, they have Jey beat him this time. Like, come on, man.
No, look, if they have Jey and the Streak, it would be an all time. I don't think you would be able to recapture any of that, the feelings around this again. The real hardcores that guys like us that break it down on that level, like, how stupid is it that a guy that's primarily a tag team wrestler ends the greatest? It would be like, at WrestleMania 30 having a tag team wrestler knock off the Undertaker. That's the level that we're at here. So whoever does it, it has to be a major guy.
I think if anyone from the family is going to do it, it's got to be Solo. Like, he's the one.
Right.
That
right.
It should be, if it's going to be anyone from there. But
and that includes Dwayne. If they ever get Dwayne involved in it, he absolutely should beat Roman.
Right.
Even though, that would be a possibility too. So yeah, that being the match or the main event title match, it's kind of lame to me. And like you said, if it were different in that Cody had won the title at Mania, that I'd be more excited for that sort of match. But as it stands right now, unless they throw a curveball and it's a bloodline 4-way match for the title,
that could be interesting
because they're kind of teasing that Solo is starting to see like, this guy ain't what he says he is. He's nothing without us.
Yeah.
And my brothers are showing that could be it too. So I would like to think they're going to find a better match than Jey and Roman, but I don't think they will. And this is more that they're cooking.
As of right now, that's what's penciled in. It's that match. It's Cody Brock 3. And then there's a triple threat for with Charlotte, Asuka, and Bianca. So, yeah. Yeah, so anything else regarding the bloodline that you want to touch on before we move on?
No.
Okay. One quick thing before I almost forgot. I did love one of the things that's been so good about this story is all like the callbacks and stuff like that. I loved Jey kicking out of a pin attempt from Roman and doing so where he ends up low blowing Roman, because Roman started doing that in the matches against Jey when the reign first started. And so that was a nice little callback there that I was like, aha.
Two can play that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understood that reference. So yeah, I really like that. So I'm excited. Like, this is the first time in a long time where I'm like actually like planning on watching SmackDown tonight. So
should be good. I'm interested to see how Solo and Heyman both factor into this at this point. So
yeah. So let's touch on real quick who won the actual Money in the Bank matches last week. You alluded to it earlier. They had Damien Priest win the first one, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. I guess I was just so focused on like, just don't, if it's not Logan Paul, and God please don't let it be Logan Paul, then it probably should be LA Knight. But I think, I think I probably would have preferred LA Knight, I'm perfectly okay with Priest winning, because it plays into this way they can use the briefcase as more than just something to supplement one guy. It also ties into another story, with their, arguably their second definitely their second best faction in the company. But I mean, the Judgment Day is, look, you heard the boos for Don every time Don Callis tried to speak on Wednesday night. Like, listen to every time Don tries to speak on the microphone. Like, it's crazy.
Is that legit? Because I've heard some people say they're piping in some of those boos.
I'm sure they are at this point, but it started out, I'm sure now they're like, oh, wow, that sounds really good. Let's enhance it. Whatever.
Yeah. So I have two issues with it. One, we just talked about a civil war between a faction. So now we're doing the exact same story on the other show.
True.
And we've already had the major switch of leadership in Judgment Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing it again is kind of like, well, then it becomes like Bullet Club. Like, at what point does it become you don't even want to be involved, because inevitably they're just going to turn on you, right?
I mean, if that's the case, Finn should really probably see this coming.
You would think, but yeah. And look, here, my other major issue about it is when they did the first Money in the Bank match. 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Edge was pretty much where LA Knight is right now. He had a little following. People were big on him, but he hadn't got to the next level yet. And giving him, remember him walking around with that suitcase, gave him something to lean on for the rest of until he was ready to cash in. And it didn't require him having to go out and work every week to keep an interest in him. And he didn't have to go and cut a promo every single week if he didn't want to keep the crowd on fire for it. I feel like LA Knight carrying around the briefcase right now would be much better for him in the long term than Damien Priest having the briefcase and this internal struggle between Judgment Day.
I'm going to disagree a little bit because I think when Edge won the briefcase, I don't think he was even close to as popular as what LA Knight is right now. That, like, his major heat didn't come till a couple months afterwards when the whole Matt Hardy Lita stuff came to light. And that summer.
Like, no, I feel like when he came back from injury, he had the feud with Orton, right, in 2004.
Yeah, and then he got booed in Toronto at SummerSlam that year.
Sure. And that's Bizarro World because Toronto was more of a hardcore base. But then he turns heel and he starts to stuff with, like, Flair, and he's kind of getting some.
The Flair stuff was after that. He had the feud with Shawn. He had the feud with Shawn.
That's what it was. Because I'm thinking he had the street fight at the Royal Rumble is what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. But he's got the he's had. You could see he was coming. He was right. Like they just needed to get him up to that next level. And I think having LA Knight, who's won he's won like 2 matches on TV in the last few months. Like, you have a guy like that, suddenly now he's going to go on a win streak because people are cheering him. That doesn't make sense to me. I just felt like you had a chance to elevate a guy who's white hot right now, and not just white hot on the mid card. You could get him up into the top tier. Him and Seth against each other on the mic would be money.
It would be. Are you going to have him beat Seth?
You can have him tease it. You can have him show up on SmackDown and just run his mouth at Roman at some point.
Right.
Like,
sure, but he can do that anyway.
He could, but if he's got the briefcase in his back pocket, it feels to me like he would do more with it than Damian Priest is going to do. Where clearly the story is well, Finn couldn't get the job done. You know, maybe Finn finally gets the job done, and Damian beats him, or Finn can't get it done, and then they jump Seth and Damien becomes champ. I didn't think Judgment Day needed that to make it more interesting.
Could be. But see, that's fair, but I just feel the same way. I don't think him having the briefcase was going to make him any hotter than what he is. So, I don't know. I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just glad it wasn't Logan Paul.
Right.
So there's that. I mean, they're both 40 years old. Like it really is kind of a wash, really, when you think about it.
Which is kind of why I would say you do it with LA Knight, because LA Knight is a bigger star right now than anybody in Judgment Day has ever been in terms of reactions. Finn was never that popular.
I mean, if you want to talk the males, yes, but I think Rhea is.
Rhea is very popular with a certain segment of the audience.
Well, that too, but
and it's not her wrestling and stuff that people are as drawn to.
Well, I think it's both.
Okay, well, when Rhea Ripley was a baby face and coming out, were people going absolutely ballistic when she came out? No, they weren't. They were happy to see her, but they weren't going. He didn't have 12,000 people singing her catchphrases and blowing the roof off of the place when she came out. They're like, "Yay, Rhea!"
Fair. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I just don't think it's as big of a miss as some people are making it out to be. But maybe time will tell. It will be. We'll see.
Well, I mean, like, and I said this to you off air at some, like, it's just another example of them having lightning in the bottle, so to speak, and just not doing anything with it. It's almost like this system of like, well, we didn't plan for you to get this popular, so we're not going to capitalize on it right away. We're going to wait and see if it maintains or see what we can do down the road. And this has been a pattern with the company for like 15, 20 years at this point.
Sure.
I mean, look, we talked about Edge. Edge got his heat when all the Matt Hardy stuff happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Matt Hardy wasn't out of the company, so they had him feuding with, it was like Snitsky.
Kane.
And Kane, yeah, Snitsky was involved.
Storyline wise, Lita was Kane's wife.
Right. And it wasn't until they finally got Matt Hardy back on the show that Edge really got to lean into that.
Right. Yeah. So, on the women's side, I think they absolutely made the right call, and Io Shirai is Miss Money in the Bank. And I love the finish, too, of, because earlier in the match, she was climbing the ladder and Bayley had pushed it over. So the finish saw Becky and Bayley each on one side of a ladder. And handcuffs had been introduced in the match prior, and so Io just came in and handcuffed Becky and Bayley together through the ladder so they couldn't climb any higher, and she climbed over top of them and grabbed the briefcase. It was pretty sweet. So, yeah. But yeah, I think Io is absolutely the right choice there. So I'm excited to see. And like she's almost, other than Carmella, she's the longest reigning Miss Money in the Bank so far. So yay.
Yeah, and and maybe this is why they didn't go with LA Knight, but it feels like she's had a lot of momentum since before WrestleMania, where people are like, let's get her as a focal point.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice that she has this now. Bailey's got a little bit of a bitch to have with her now, like, and it's elevating someone else up the card, so it's not the same 6 women wrestling for the championships all the time.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So, real quick, John Cena made a surprise appearance at the show, and basically was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be great if we brought WrestleMania to London?"
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Hey, another company just punked us out and showed us that, like, hey, we're not the only ones that can draw. Maybe we'll come back.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it was. And you know what? Whatever, fine. You know what? Give me 2 nights of a 3:00 WrestleMania. I'd be so happy.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Do it. Put all the shows in London from now on.
Dude, it was so awesome. Like, the show was over by 6:30, and I still had like my night to like hang out with the family and stuff like that.
Right.
That was the best part of the show. It was a really good show.
Right, but you were done early.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. I mean, this is kind of years ago, before AEW was a thing, and the WWE was the only options. We would complain about, like, it's just competition would force them to do something different. It would make them better. And whether or not you like AEW, if you're looking at it objectively, the things they've accomplished in the 4.5 years since they've launched have forced WWE to create a better product. And it's forced WWE to lean into, man, the crowds in AEW are white hot for their product. What do we have to do that? I know. We'll start going to all these places that have been dying for us to show up. We'll put 15,000 fans in the arena. They'll lose their mind, and it'll create an atmosphere where it feels like premium live events are can't miss at this point.
Right. Yeah, no, that Money in Bank crowd was bonkers, and I can't wait to see what All In brings, because that's going to be, 10
The only thing that worries me is it's outdoor, and we always hear about the sound escaping. But forcing WWE to go, oh shit, AEW just sold more than 70,000 tickets. Looks like it's going to be over 80 by the time the show happens. in a place that we've kind of ignored.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we better get out there and reclaim some of that audience. And this idea of Mania in London is
Well, and now
great for that.
that also is because there's never enough money. The way WWE operates with WrestleMania is kind of like how the NFL operates with the Super Bowl, where people bid on it. So that's like,
Yeah,
hey, UK government, you hear how how the response is to this? Why don't you pay us to bring WrestleMania over there here in a couple
sure.
years? So,
Sure. But if I know the British, they're going to tell old Vinnie Mac to shove it up his arse.
yeah,
If they're smart anyway. London doesn't need to bid on something like that. But.
Right. And I loved Cena working in the quote from that TikTok of him going around in the promo with him.
Oh yeah.
How about, can I just hang out with my friends?
Sure. I mean, look. Cena could show up tomorrow and shoot right to the top of the card, and not just because he's Cena, but because he's incredible at what he does.
Oh yeah. Definitely. All right, over to AEW. Let's talk about the best thing of the week.
What's that?
That is the partnership of one Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Adam Cole.
It's so good.
This has been fantastic from the jump since they announced it. The team, it's been great. Last week with the T-shirt and Cole talking about boundaries and stuff like that, and he's like,
and then MJF showed up and he's like, dude, fake and sick to get out of Forbidden Door. What a great, I should have thought of that. Like, so good.
Yes. And then there's the video of Cole on his Twitch stream and MJF calls him and he's like, Max, I'm in the middle of a stream here. And he goes, and Max is just trying to talk about like the tag team. He goes, I like to try and keep wrestling and my streaming separate, Max. And he's like, Max, you're not playing video games, are you? So good. And then we get to this week and like Max is talking about, let's do a double clothesline. And it's time for the match, and MJF comes out and he's like, no, cut my music, and he does the thing, and Adam comes out and he's like copying Adam's movements and stuff like that. And then he takes the Roddy spot in the ring when he does the Adam Cole baby, which I have a thought on that here in a little bit. And then the match is
the best part of the entrance though is when Cole is getting ready to do the baby and MJF is running around him like Sean used to do around Triple H.
Yes.
And then he gets down in front of him because Sean's supposed to do the pose. Triple H does that. Yeah. Well, when Cole goes up with the baby, he's right. It was like,
yes.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
Oh, man, like when MJF,
we skipped the vignette. We gotta go back. We got to talk about
I was gonna get to the I wasn't gonna skip that. I just figured since we started with the match.
All right, yeah, we'll talk about the match first, then we'll talk about the vignette.
And the vignette plays into it when Max is just not trying to be the devil, and he's just being a goon. He is so it's a completely different side of like why I love that character, even though you're supposed to hate him. It's like when he hit the boom and he just chuckled. It's like that little look was just like, man, this guy, he gets it. Like, he could be a baby face if he wanted to, but he doesn't. He has no desire.
He's obsessed with Cole not wearing the shirt, the Better Than You Baby shirt.
Yeah, where's your shirt?
Yeah. He keeps trying to get Cole to cheat.
Right.
By holding his hand while he's got the address. He had that abdominal stretch on forever because he kept trying to get Cole to cheat.
And when was the last time someone threw that hold on for more than like 30 seconds in a match?
Exactly.
What? And what works so well, and we'll get to the vignette part of it, but what is working so well for me is like if you know Cole's character, he was basically MJF in
Mm-hmm.
NXT. He would cheat, he would do whatever it took to win. And this like
Well,
this thing of MJF trying to pull it out of him, like give me the Adam Cole that I know
yeah.
is in there, is so great.
I mean, yeah, Cole's been that way. He was that way in ROH. He was that way in NXT. He was that way in his initial AEW stint.
Mm-hmm.
Before he got hurt. Like, yeah, they're definitely like almost mirror images of each other. But Cole, is trying to be a better person this time around, and so he's trying to pull that out of MJF a little bit, and all the while you can tell he's messing with MJF as much as MJF is messing with him. And it's a matter of
and that's part of it too.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of who's gonna end up coming out on top in the end. They win the match, whatever. And then it just so happened to be Adam Cole's birthday.
Yeah.
And so out come some I love Taz burying the locals. Who are these guys? And then the Excalibur's like, they're production assistants. And they come down with balloons and stuff. A bunch of streamers get launched, and there's a cake. And I know MJF can sing, and then like every time I hear him do it, I'm still like, holy shit, I can't believe MJF can sing like that.
Right. And then you go, man, those rumors of him wanting to try out Hollywood are kind of scary when you think about it like that. But,
yeah. And then it ends with he's gonna try and push Cole's face in the cake, but Cole is too smart for that and turns around on him, and MJF gets a face full of cake.
Right. Well, and I love that MJF didn't sell it like, oh my God, I'm so angry.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, like he's rolling with it. It's so well done.
It's so good. So yeah, so I definitely think they're making the finals of the tournament, probably against Darby and Orange Cassidy.
Maybe. I
I
don't know.
Yeah, I think because they face the winner, like their next match is the winner of Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett versus, I can't remember who their face. Oh,
like Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia.
No,
it's
I think it's Trent and Matt Sydal.
Okay.
So whoever wins that match, they're beating those guys, and that's the semifinal match. So,
I guess my thought is who's going to be which one of the teams left makes the most sense to face FTR?
I think it's Darby and Orange because they're the ones that have actually teamed before. It's either them or it's Garcia and Sammy.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
But
I feel like it's going to go south in the semifinals for Cole and MJF. Just because then you can have Darby and Orange face Garcia and Cassidy, or Garcia and Guevara.
Well, I think that's the other semifinal match. Is those two?
Oh, so I don't know the bracket off the top of my head. I apologize.
I'm pretty sure, like I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how from what they said, I'm pretty sure that's how it breaks down.
I don't know, unless Orange loses the belt, and that's a whole other discussion. How is he in this? Like, why does he need to be in this? He's on his own great run.
It's random draw.
Yeah, whatever. It's stupid. FTR has done nothing for several weeks, and their first big match after it, just the two of them. I don't mean.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about? They're best buds with CM Punk. What more could they ask?
Yeah, they're the tag team champions, and they're playing the B roll to CM Punk's return. Just for them to have a title match against a random pairing, like to me, it's a lose-lose. Because if the random pairing wins, what the hell? You diminished FTR, and when FTR wins, well, they beat a team that's not really a team. So
Real quick, let's touch on the vignette that aired before the match, and then we'll get into where I think this probably ends up going. They're at the gym working out together, and MJ is like, "Hey, bro, can you spot me?" And he does his bench press or whatever, and Cole's like on his phone or whatever, like, "Yeah, that's great, Max, good job." And then Cole gets down to do his set, and MJ was like, "You want me to lighten this up for you a little bit?" And Cole's like, "No, I got it." And so then Cole just rips off like double the reps that MJF did, and MJF's like, "What the?" And then there is a heavy set gentleman in the gym as well, and MJF tries to be MJF, and Cole's like, "No, we can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore, Max. Like it's not. We can't do that in 2023." But then they're like, "Hey, you know who he does look like?" And they both say Tony Schiavone at the same time.
Right. Right. Well, and then if you notice, Cole has a little pause where he's kind of like, I don't know if it's like, I regret that, or like, oh, that kind of felt good to be back in that space. Like,
right.
It was I was a little concerned when this started about trying to make Adam Cole a babyface, just because he's always been better as a heel. But this is working, at least for now. We'll see where it ends up. And you said you had a thought on where this is going.
So I think this ends up with Roddy turning on Adam. I think as far as just Adam and MJ, I think this has to end with not necessarily Adam beating MJF for the title, because I don't think that necessarily, although I would be thrilled. But I think whatever the end game is to get to that point, that second match between the two of them, like, I think Adam has to, because Max always outsmarts everybody. He's always coming out ahead of everybody. I think for this one time, I think it would be good to see what happens when he isn't able to outsmart, whether it be Jericho or whoever else that he pretends to be friends with. He's always come out, on the upper hand.
Yeah.
It. So I think it'd be interesting to see what happens when that doesn't happen. But then also, whether it's during the inevitable match or whatever, I do think, Roddy's been trying to, give Adam all these warnings, and Adam is like kind of brushing him off, like, "No, I got this handled. You could play the gel, I was getting my ass kicked by Samoa Joe after our match. What were you doing? Probably hanging out with MJF, and then now MJF is doing my, kneel down spot in front of you in the, like, you could play out whether I don't think he's necessarily going to end up working with MJF himself, but I just could. And plus, again, turning something on its head, Adam always is the one who turns on his friends. So it'd be interesting to see it from the other direction as well.
Maybe. Look, I love Roderick Strong.
I know what you're going to say. I get it.
He's a bit player. Like, it would be kind of like Sean Spears turning on Cody. Like, it would just, okay, I guess, but like, the guy's been around for so long. If he were gonna make a jump, or he were going to be interesting to the fans, it would have happened by now. Like, I feel awful saying it like that, but like, Roddy's just a guy there. Now, the way you make Roddy work for me is when Kyle is back, and you reignite that group with Adam Cole as the lead. That's how you make him more valuable to the roster. Because if it happens the way you're saying right now, Cole inevitably beats Roderick, and Roderick goes back to just being an afterthought. At least if they keep him together with Kyle when he comes back, that unit is established. Right. The unit is more valuable than Roderick. If that makes sense. I did say unit. Not a very big unit if it's Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Diminutive.
Yeah, no, I mean, you might be right. Me watching it, I just I'm calling my shot is what I'm doing. And that way, if it happens, I get to pat myself on the back. And then if it doesn't, I'm like, well, that was a stupid idea anyway. Who would believe that?
Yeah, right.
So.
Send in your application.
Yeah, right. Anything else on that?
No, it's just good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Lastly, real quick, we're a couple weeks out from Blood and Guts, from Boston of all places. But anyways, the big question is who's going to be the fifth man for each team?
Well, it sounds like we're going to need a fourth man for Blackpool.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. This match is just cursed. Every time they try to do this match, it doesn't work out the way they plan. I honestly, at this point, I don't know, and I don't really care. I know I had said I wanted to see this story go for a while. Brian being hurt, Yuta being hurt, Takeshita is now involved. The Dark Order is in the background. Like, it's just too much. It's just not. It's not captivating me like I thought it would.
Yeah, they're definitely limping to the finish line. I'm happy that they decided to actually finally acknowledge the Dark Order of it all. On television, but the execution has been, again, they're asking you to, and maybe it's just commentary needs to do a better job, but they're asking the audience to put the pieces together themselves too much, I think, with this.
Yeah.
And also, leaving up to the people with their Twitter threads and stuff like that of, lore and all that kind of stuff. But I just, there's something, and running the match back, a little over a week after the first one, they're running it back tonight on the 100th episode of Rampage. Like, that's kind of like, okay, I guess. Like, I would have saved it till after Blood and Guts if you want to do that. If you're so going on all of a sudden, like, remembering Dark Order exists, make this the program for the Elite coming out of the Blackpool Combat Club feud. Trying to interject them in now, unless like you said, if Yuta can't be a part of the match, like, unless you just take one of the Dark Order guys and put him in that spot, but that doesn't make any sense either.
Well, and again, not to besmirch the Dark Order people, but they have been largely useless and uninteresting since Hangman came back and left them high and dry the first time. Even when they did the trios tournament, no one gave a shit about the Dark Order being involved. It was, Hangman's going to wrestle Kenny and the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. And Reynolds and Silver can help have a good match, but they're funny characters on BTE, and they've been presented as nothings on the actual show.
Also, like,
it doesn't, like,
as mad, as pissed off as they are at Hangman, which, sure, warranted. Like, it's still like they got the shit beat out of them by BCC too. Like, why are they coming out to save Claudio from getting brained by a chair from Hangman? Like, that didn't make any sense.
None of it makes any sense. Look, there's clearly a heel and face faction in this war, right?
Right.
The problem is one of the main focal points of your face faction is actually the biggest asshole in the group. When he had nothing, when he turned his back on the Elite and was like, I don't want your help anymore, and then went to the Dark Order, and the Dark Order were the ones that accepted him and were like, you can beat Kenny. You deserve to be champion. We're here for you. He just turned his back on him. And then he came back. They did the trios match, and he did it again. Like, he's the asshole in this situation, but he's supposed to be the baby face. Like, it makes no sense.
Well, he's a Brian should human.
Great. you don't do that to people that are your friends, though. And if you're a flawed human and you've done that repeatedly, should someone point it out? Shouldn't Brian or somebody be like, it's interesting that Hangman thinks he's such a good guy, but here he is. Look what he's done to the Dark Order. Look what he's done to the Bucks and Kenny in the past. Like, he's not a good person. Why do people cheer? It's insulting to the audience to me at this point not to acknowledge it.
Sure. No, I get that.
But they'll get in the ring, they'll have a banger match, and no one will think twice about it.
Right. Because that's what they do.
Because that's the Young Bucks way. Yep.
It sounds like you are going to be correct in that Ibushi is probably going to be the 5th member for the Elite. A little Golden Elite reunion. Should bring back the gold Elite t-shirts.
They should.
And then we got it. Is it going to be Chris Jericho on the other side?
Jericho and who else?
So are we for sure or is it just people speculating that Yuta might not make it?
I don't know yet, but
okay.
Sounded like he hurt himself
for now,
pretty bad.
Let's just go with the assumption that Yuta's going to be able to be in the match. And we're only looking for one person.
Sure.
So
I guess Jericho fits in because of the Don Callis connection.
Right.
But Jericho had a blood feud with Moxley. He just feuded with Claudio last year over the Ring of Honor title.
He was on the opposite side of the group in this exact same match a year ago.
Right, like, none of it makes any sense again.
Well, other than it's like, he's the connective tissue of, like, it's a blood and guts match. We have to have Chris Jericho in it.
Or they're like, man, we're paying this guy a lot of money. We can't just have him not being involved in major stuff. We got to find a place for him. Let's shoehorn. Like, if you're the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society, aren't you like, the hell? Like, it doesn't make much sense. The one option I saw that was kind of interesting to me, but I don't think it would work because, again, he's an indie darling, but not many people know. Chris Hero would make a lot of sense. Him and Claudio have history as a team, and they have history of real life issues with Eddie,
right?
Which would give Eddie more fuel of like why he's so mad at Moxley. Like, you keep surrounding me. You're supposed to be my friend.
Eddie's not going to be, Eddie's not going to be around for this, so if you're going to do that, I would maybe hold off on that for.
But if you're watching the weekly show, there's this boiling tension between where Renee was literally like, you guys need to fix this.
Right.
You could lean into it when Eddie comes back from G1 and be like, you're supposed to be my friend, but you're palling around with people I hate. Go to hell.
Right. Hey, no one cares about some Chikara bullshit.
I mean, truer words have never been spoken.
So yeah,
what my favorite Chikara story is? The time they hired Kevin Steen to show up and he got in the ring and started cussing and doing all this stuff that they forbid wrestlers to do because he had no idea what it was as a company. That's my favorite Chikara moment.
Well, it happens. But, yeah, so we'll see. I guess we'll find out. Part of me just hopes that they said that they're going to announce it here and I guess it would have to be next week at this point if they're going to announce it ahead of time. I kind of hope to just keep it a secret till the day of, till the match happens.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, I guess you run the risk then if it's not Ibushi, then people are going to be like, oh. But I don't know. I just
the match itself sells the show.
It does, and like, I don't know. I like not knowing stuff. Like,
sure.
Again,
I'm not a. Go ahead.
No, it's the whole. We're gonna have an open challenge, and then like 10 minutes later, it's like I'm answering the open challenge. I'm like, well, just wait.
Yeah, just announce a match then.
Exactly.
I I'm not a big, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about could it be Ibushi. Like I'm not huge on Ibushi's match being a violent cage brawl either. Like I don't know. It's I feel like Kota Ibushi's first match in AEW should be like a one on one big deal. You know, give me him and Brian or something like that. Him and Claudio.
Yeah.
Uh, because this is going to be a lot of Gaga, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
these matches always are. It's there's not a lot of wrestling. There's not a lot of athleticism because it's not. You got 10 men clustered in the ring. Like he's not that guy. He can do it, and then I'm sure it'll be fine. But I would rather see the execution of like Kota Ibushi in the ring having a one-on-one wrestling match.
Right. That's fair. But, all right. Well, I think that does it this week. So yeah. Well, please like and subscribe and all that jazz. Leave a thumbs up, and which is the same as like, whatever. musicandmoonsaults.com is the website. Leads you right to the YouTube channel here. Anything to plug this week, Matt?
No,
Okay.
I don't have a well. I created a Threads account, but I spent like 3 minutes on it. Realized it's not for me. I'm too old. So don't come follow me on Threads.
I am on Threads. It's the same. It's the same handle as my Twitter, only there's an 85 at the end. I'll put it in the description on the video if you care to. I'm not sure. I'm dipping my toes in. Basically, I was like, seems like all my friends are at least creating accounts over there, and this seems like the best alternative that's come about so far. So I'll go ahead and so I don't get left behind like I have my entire life with social media platforms. I've been late to the party on every single one. So
Yeah, you're still not on TikTok, so
yeah, and there's a reason for that. So
fair enough.
yeah, so we'll see, but it'll be there if things happen to lean that way. So I'm hedging my bets.
Really? I saw too many Dane Cook jokes back to back to back when I logged in and went, nope, I'm good. I don't need a stream of stuff from people I don't care about popping up on my feed.
I've just started either muting or blocking, and then that way I never have to see it again.
Yeah, I'll let it go.
Fair enough. All right. Have a great weekend. It's a big. Our wives' birthdays are in the next few days.
They are. I think we're going out to dinner tonight as kind of like a pre-birthday celebration since we've got
we're doing dinner and a movie tomorrow. So,
woohoo!
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
Remember all that shit I talked about Indiana Jones when we were in the theater waiting to see Fast X?
At least you can the whole time just think about it'd have been better if it were Han Solo.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, she's like, I want to go see the Indiana Jones movie. I'm like, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah, you'll be there.
I'll be there.
It'll be a good time.
So,
but at least they serve alcohol at movie theaters now.
It's true. It's true. So yeah. So yeah, we'll be back next week then with maybe we'll know who the 5th members of each team are. Maybe we won't. Who knows?
Only Tony Khan knows.
Only Tony Khan. He probably doesn't even know at this point. Let's be honest. Until next time. See ya.